Hello, lovelies. Welcome to Horror 421, the podcast, with your hosts, special effects makeup artist supreme, Elena Morales, and your friendly small-town horror author, Charles Campbell. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the frights in this week's episode.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Horror 421, the podcast. My name is Charles Campbell, and I am an author, and I have my beautiful co-host with me today, Elena Morales.
Hello, guys, and I am a special effects makeup artist / spooky fellow mankind.
And today we have a very special guest. He's a personal friend of mine, and he's an author. He founded County Line Horror, and his name is Bryce Gibson, and we'll be speaking to him today about the things he has out there, the things he's worked on in the past, and we'll just talk about horror in general. Bryce is a big horror fan, just like we are. So welcome to the show, Bryce.
Hey, thank y'all for having me on.
You're very welcome. We're excited to have you on, actually. I've had the privilege of knowing Bryce for a few years now. I think we met in like 2015 or 16, maybe 15. I can't remember. But we shared a table a long time ago at a book signing. And since then, Bryce has done all kinds of cool stuff.
With mustard and ketchup.
That's right. That's right. Well, yeah, we were. Where was that? Where was that book signing? Was that the Georgia Literary Festival?
Yeah, the Georgia Literary Festival at the, I don't remember where it was. It was the Georgia Literary Festival, yeah. Somewhere in Augusta.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Bryce hit me up on Facebook one day, and I didn't know who he was, and he messaged me, and he was like, hey, I'm Bryce Gibson, and do you want to, split a table with me at the Georgia Literary Festival? That's the way I remember it. If I misremember anything, Bryce, just tell me. And then,
such a horrible friend. Can't even remember how you met. Gee, man.
That's kind of how we met. And then, we kind of met there, and we really hit it off. So, and I picked up his earlier works, but since then, he's produced quite a few books. And Bryce, you want to give us a little history on how you got into writing, and what drove you into creating County Line Horror?
Yeah. Well, my name is Bryce. Like Charles said, I'm Bryce Gibson. I've pretty much always written since I was a little kid, and I always liked writing horror-related stories. Back then, I wrote a lot of horror stories or scary stories that were kind of, looking back on it now, it's very obvious I was trying to imitate Fear Street or Point Horror or something like that. But I wrote them on notebook paper, and I drew the covers, and I stapled them together. I still have a lot of those too. But yeah, I've always written since I was little, and then my first attempt at writing a novel, I guess I was around 20 or so. That one I never finished. And I kind of, from then on, I kind of wrote short stories and whatnot. And then I didn't really attempt at writing a novel again until years later. Around 2013, 2014 is when I started trying to write novels again. And it really has gone from there. With the County Line Horror series, I now have 7 books, and I should have a couple out this year. Yes.
And I'm showing some of the books that Bryce has out there. The 3 that I'm showing you right now are from the Killer Tech series, and I think he has another Killer Tech book coming out in the near future. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
I'm working on a Killer Tech book right now. Yeah. And Killer Tech is kind of going back to what I was saying about when I was little and writing stories that were obviously along the line of Fear Street and that kind of thing. That's kind of what I'm doing with Killer Tech, but it's set at a trade school. So it's kind of got a trade school spin on that familiar teen horror element like Fear Street and whatnot. As far as I know, I'm the only one that has a trade school horror series. So
Yeah, as far as I know, that's true, and it's a very good series. And the last book that I read was '86, and I think I told Bryce this on the side, but I think that's my favorite book by his out of all of his books. And I mean, he's got some good books out there, but '86 was a story that really stuck out to me. And this is his latest release, but he has another book coming out soon. You want to talk a little bit specifically about '86 and what gave you the idea for that book?
yeah, 86 is the third Killer Tech book. And like I said, each Killer Tech book is centered around a trade school, so each one is occupational based. The first one is auto shop, and the second one is electrical based at high voltage, and the third one, Killer 86, it's culinary based, and that one, I mean, the Killer Tech series, they're kind of just based on, I get the ideas just on a concept and then go from there, kind of. It's like, okay, this time I'm going to write the one I'm working on now. I just knew that I was going to write a construction one. So the concept was a construction one, and the story just kind of was built around the construction element. The one after that is going to be a plumbing related one. And then the one after that, I'm kind of thinking about possibly doing a cosmetology one. I'm not sure yet. But back
Do
to
it!
86.
Do it!
Yeah. So the 86 is culinary based. And like I said, the idea was just around the cooking class. And I tried to come up with an idea of how this cooking class could get involved in something scary, I guess. So I decided that they would go on a cooking competition. Some of the students from the school, from the culinary class, would be selected to compete on a cooking competition. So they go on this cooking competition, and with it being a horror story, of course, everything goes haywire there. So that one I can't really say too much about because
Without
it
giving it
goes
away, right?
into some strange places, but it hopefully into areas that people won't really see coming. So
Yeah. Well, it looks like you got Elena's interest when you said cosmetology.
I don't know. I could just see somebody like stabbing straight in the jugular with a pair of scissors, like, and cutting shears. I don't know. You
yeah,
can go a lot of ways with that. I just think it would be really cool. Or you can have like a hairy monster in there, like a Cousin It type thing. I don't know. That's just my brain.
I
It
hadn't
just goes
thought
this
about
way.
that.
I just
I
think
hadn't
that would be
thought about
cool.
that.
I don't know. I just was like, ooh, you could stab people like a lot.
Yeah,
Sorry, that was
and I
cool.
hadn't thought about the hairy monster thing, but I like that. And each of the Killer Tech books have some sort of a mascot or something involved in them. So I really like that hairy monster element.
See, there you go. You get 3 creative people in the same room, and the ideas just keep going.
Yeah,
That's
and
how it
as
works.
far as what you were saying about the shears, I was just thinking about possible taglines for the cosmetology one this morning, and one of the things I came up with was sheer terror. So there you go.
That's
Ooh.
hysterical, and I absolutely adore that. I would buy that just for that. Like literally, that would be like, you sold.
Yeah.
Wow, great minds think alike. Listen to this. This is pretty cool.
But
So Bryce, with
yeah.
your inspiring authors, like when you're writing, I know you said that Fear Street was your favorite. So is R.L. Stine probably one of your all-time favorites who did write the Fear Street, or do you have other literary authors that inspire you to create further or make more novels?
Particularly with the Killer Tech books, I mean that they are really inspired by R.L. Stine and any of the '90s horror teen books. Those in particular are really inspired by that. As far as my favorite authors that really inspire me, though, I read a lot of stuff that's not horror, and some of my favorite authors are in no way similar to what I write. But I love Alice Hoffman; she's one of my favorites. And David Joy, he
She's
writes,
a very good powerhouse.
yeah, and David Joy, he writes really dark Southern novels, and he's one of my favorites as well. But as far as horror, of course, R.L. Stine, Clive Barker is one of my favorite horror writers. When I was younger, John Saul, I only say because when I was younger, he hasn't published a book in a long time, but John Saul, he had a lot, and I read all of his. So.
Awesome. Well, what are you working on right now?
Currently, right now, I'm working on. Well, I just finished the first draft of another book that's not Killer Tech. It's a standalone. Is temporarily it's called Hurts Like the Devil. It's set in Edgefield, South Carolina. It's a really dark family drama kind of thing. It definitely has horror elements to it. Anytime I've noticed this about my writing, anytime I try to write something that's not directly horror, all these horror elements kind of show up and seep into it, even if it's horror. So it's sometimes it'll just be like set at Halloween or haunted houses. I know, Elena, you work in a haunted house, so or a character loves horror movies. Just different horror elements seem to pop up in there. But anyway, the one I just finished the first draft on, Hurts Like the Devil, is set in Edgefield. A lot of it is centered around a true ghost story there, centered around Becky Cotton. She's kind of nicknamed the Devil in Petticoats, but she's a real murderess from Edgefield, and a lot of that book centers around her backstory. And I just finished the first draft of that one, but right now I'm drafting the first draft of the next Killer Tech book. It's the fourth one, and it's called Punch List. Is the construction one. And
nice.
The premise of it, I guess, is that there's the main character. He's an apprentice for a construction company, and he's assigned to do these different small tasks at these construction sites. So, and it appears that somebody's sending him around via his punch list to these crime scenes or trying to manipulate him into something, I guess.
Okay, that is a cool premise.
Construction sites present a lot of danger, and I appreciate the fact that you can there's so many different things. Like, my mind is like, ooh, that would be really cool.
Yeah, wrecking ball crushing a body against a wall, that'll work.
Or like the nail gun through the safety helmet, that would be cool too.
Exactly. I just did a concrete scene a couple days ago, so.
Oh, nice.
They had an episode somewhere I saw. I know this sounds weird. Yes, I do watch Grey's Anatomy, even though I love horror, so don't judge me. It's the one girly thing I do, okay? They had an episode where a kid, he actually did a prank, and he actually was covered in cement concrete, and like it hardened, but like they couldn't get him out, and it was just crushing his organs, and he just eventually died. But still, I mean, that was cool. Like the way they did it, I was like, that's actually a really cool concept, and it could actually happen. So I like it. And no, I'm not a serial killer because I have all of these weird ideas. Thanks.
Oh yeah, I always joke about like, what if somebody does a search history on a horror writer's search history on their computer? The things
they're done. The jury's convicted them. Yeah.
You literally should have seen the looks I got the day I went to, I had to go to Walgreens to get the picture printed for Charles's last book that I did the cover for.
Yeah.
And I just had this bloody picture of the split neck I did, and there was just blood everywhere. And I'm developing these pictures, right? Because I wanted to keep them in my portfolio.
Yeah.
And I got like the most eat shit ass look when I was in there. I was like, oh, this is bad. And Charles was like, go home. They are going to arrest you. I'm just like, I am ashamed. I am so ashamed.
Oh, man.
And those covers are awesome, by the way.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. They were so much fun to do. I think I really appreciated someone giving me their baby and kind of, I don't know, it was just fun to do. I thought it was so much fun.
Yeah, they are, well, to echo what Bryce just said, they are fantastic. And I've already told you that 1,000 times. I'll tell you 1,000 times more. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to have anyone else do a cover at this point because they're so good. But yeah.
So if you need a cover, my friend,
there you go. There you go. Well, Bryce, I'm going to change subjects a little bit. I'm going to take the focus off your books for just a few minutes. Elena and I were talking about the newest Halloween movie a little while ago, and she has strong opinions about that movie. I want to get your take on the Halloween series in general, since I know it's a passion of yours, and see if I can get a little debate going between you and Elena.
Do you
Because
really want me to start down this road, though?
sure,
Yes,
sure,
this is what this show is all about.
Okay. Well, I love the Halloween series. It's probably my favorite horror series in general. I like them all, even the ones that maybe are maybe not the best. I still like them. And I mean, I could go on and on and on about the Halloween series, but there are even certain elements that it seems like people generally do not like about it, but I really like about it, like the Thorn cult that they kind of threw in there, and then just kind of dropped that whole thing. I wish that would be brought back. I have fantasies about them tying the third one into everything, and it could be done so easily. Except for there is one thing within Halloween 3 that I don't really see a way around. I don't think I'm spoiling this for anybody, but there's a shot of, I think they're in a bar, but there's a shot of the first movie on a TV where they're watching
yeah.
Halloween on a TV. So that kind of throws that off, but I think they could work around it. One of my biggest things with the series, though, is I've always wanted it all to make sense. and I have different paths in my head that it makes sense, but I just want them to make a movie where it ties everything together and it makes sense. That's all I want. I don't know if it'll ever be done, but I dream.
I'm with you on that. I think a lot of horror movie franchises like Jason, Freddy Krueger, my all-time favorite is Scream. I don't know why, just don't judge me. I'm so excited about the new Scream movie. I can't wait. They don't make any sense because who else can he want to kill this time? Like, who else is here to kill this bitch this time? Really? Who's about to stab her? Who is left? But no, I'm with you on that. Like, isn't Halloween 3 the one, Season of the Witch?
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites too. I think that was my favorite one in that series. I agree with you on that one. I don't know why I love that one so much. I think it was, I don't know, it's just really good.
I watched it when it came out, and I was one of those people that poo-pooed it and said, "Oh, this is terrible. There's no Michael Myers." Blah 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 blah. Just one of those movies that I grew to appreciate over the years as I got older and went back and rewatched it. I actually love it now because it's not part of that.
But I still think they could tie it together so easily. They could just, it could be done so easily. And that's what
it's like you said. The only thing that drew it away was, like you said, the little TV commercial or blurb they had for the Halloween movie. But they, like you said, they could probably find a way to work around that.
I think the only issue that I had with the newest one, it was every person's dream to have Michael Myers come back. You know, everybody wanted that. We wanted to see Jamie Lee. She's amazing in anything she does. I mean, it's Jamie Lee. Come on. But I think what took me out of it was that I work in the medical field, and for someone who had that significant of damage done to their stomach and all of those surgeries, and her just climb out of this bed like it was no big deal, and then Evil dies tonight, I was just like, what the hell is going on? No one would riot in a hospital. Like, security would be on your ass like white on rice in a hospital. Like, this would not be going on. But I was just like, what the hell? I think the Evil dies tonight thing, the chanting, really, really took me out of the whole mood of the film. If it weren't for that, I think it would have been a really solid film, but just that one part. And then the guy from Mad TV's in it, and he's like, Big John? Little John? Big John? Little John? And it was funny, but all I could think of him was Stewart was going, look what I can do. Look what I can do. You know, I couldn't get out of that mindset, and I was trying so hard. But my favorite was the ending. The lady that walks out with the iron that's unplugged. Like, bitch, what the hell are you gonna do with an iron that's unplugged? What are you about to do? What are you doing to Michael Myers? Like, what can possibly
I didn't even notice that in the movie when I saw it, but I've seen it on the internet since then. It cracks me up that she's standing there with an iron. But I saw a picture back at Halloween time. Somebody was dressed as her for as a Halloween costume.
That had an iron.
Utter
Yeah.
perfection. That is amazing.
But I mean,
Nice.
I liked Halloween Kills. It wasn't my favorite, but I liked it.
Mhm.
And I'm looking forward to the next one. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it. If it ends with a trilogy, you know. But really, with the new trilogy, to me it just feels like they're doing the 20-year one all over again. So
Mhm. I think the ending was really well done. The way she was voicing over how he just can't die, and the more power you give to something, I that was probably my favorite part of the movie. That one speech, that last final part, the eeriness of it. Her daughter's getting killed at the same time as she is giving this monologue, and I loved that. I really, really enjoyed that part of the film. So
yeah,
that saved it for me.
I have a theory about that though, and I think with the next one they're going to kind of backtrack on that a little bit, and that scene never actually took place. That is maybe just
Yeah.
visuals to tie in with like what you're saying with her dialogue.
I thought that too, actually. That's actually a really good theory because I did have that. I was like, well, what if maybe it was just something they put in just to, put it out there, just to keep you on that cliffhanger.
Yeah,
So I kind
yeah,
of agreed with that too.
yeah. I kind of think they're just going to kind of back up a few minutes and pick it back up. It's been a while since I've seen it, but pick it back up from a few minutes before that.
Did you enjoy the Rob Zombie versions of the Michael Myers Halloween movies?
The Rob Zombie versions, and actually,
I do too.
Halloween 2 is probably, well, it is my favorite movie of his. I know a lot of people do not like that one, but it's my favorite movie of his.
Yeah.
I really like that one. I like the visuals of it. I like the music in it.
Mhm.
I like Laurie's character arc in that one, and it just everything.
She did have a good one.
And even the white horse that a lot of people talk trash about, I love it. I think it all ties in really good.
I think that one was one that also kind of reminded me of what he did in Lords of Salem movie. Did you ever see that one?
Oh yeah.
I think that's what brought me back to it because I was like, they're both visually and aesthetically pleasing, both of those movies, and they're in their own way. And I think those are two of the movies that I think he did a lot of creative, like the colors were a little bit different, just the ethereal presence in both of those movies that they had.
And there's
that one.
I guess I don't know if you would call it a theory or whatnot, and I'm not sure. I think it was something on the Halloween special features, on Rob Zombie's special features, that talks about Lords of Salem being a metaphorical prequel to his Halloween. Not,
I can see that.
Not that it's actually Laurie's mom, but it just metaphorically a prequel to Halloween with the birth of evil and everything. And it really makes sense when you think about it like that.
Yeah. I think his were just darker in nature. I think they were very unsettling, and there was not a moment where you had any type of comedic value at all. It was just full on in your face, gore, start to finish, and I think he executed it quite well. He gave that aspect of the family drama a little bit more insight, and the scene where he just kills the dad in the recliner. I think I saw that in the movie theater, like I think the day it came out. And I remember the friend I saw it with was like, "Do we have to stay for the rest of this? Like, are we actually staying?" So we're staying. I was like, "Yeah, we're definitely staying. We are staying for this."
Yeah, well, out of the Halloween movies, my favorite Halloween movie is Rob Zombie's first film, Halloween 1. And I've told Bryce this 1,000 times. 95% of it is because of that kid that played Michael. I couldn't get enough of him. He was freaking amazing. And so I guess from my standpoint, I was let down just a little bit in the second one with the actor they replaced him with. And I wasn't as keen on the story in the second one. I didn't hate it. and it's definitely better than a lot of the other Halloween films that came out after it. But it was solid. I mean, it was a good. The two together were a good continuation of the story. But I don't know if there's a way to. Do you? I mean, how could you even include that in the original canon? Those two would have to be kicked outside the realm, wouldn't you think, Bryce?
Well, I've thought about it before. I mean, I think they could tie it in, even if it's. I mean, I would be okay. I think I've told you before. I would be okay with them with any kind of answer to tie it in, with certain things being a dream, with certain things being in Laurie's imagination or whoever's imagination, Michael's imagination. It could be.
Yeah.
I mean, anything to tie it together, I'm okay with. I know a lot of people don't like people when the script writers or a movie will really reach for something like that just to explain, but I like it. I would rather all the pieces fit together.
Gotcha.
I think every horror nerd's dream is to have the storyline just give them just any bit of inkling of something instead of always questioning and always having their own conspiracy theories behind it. Just something that ties everything together. And I think that's every horror nerd's dream. Like, just their dream, you know?
Yeah, when you try to piece the Halloween series together, I mean, it's like when I think about it, I can almost make sense of it, but then I realize there's something in there that throws it off, and because if you piece it all together, Laurie has had, let's see, several different kids, but none of them ever mentioned again. It's like that they're never mentioned again. So
it's like that girl on Family Matters. What was that sister's name?
But yeah, I wish they would tie it all together. At Days of the Dead last time, I was at Scout Taylor Compton's table getting her autograph. She's played Laurie in Rob Zombie's Halloweens, and she was telling me that they were ready to do a Halloween 3, and then it just fell apart. She said she was on board, and the guy that played Michael in those, what's his name? I can't think of his name.
Oh, damn.
I don't know off the top of my head.
She said that they were both on board, and then they don't know what happened. So,
I think what I watched an interview with Rob Zombie, and I think he did mention this. He said that there was a lot of things with the company that actually owns, I think, the storyline with Halloween. I think it was going to be way too much muster fuss, and I think it would have been less of a gore thing. And that's not what his art direction in his mind was going. And I think there was a lot of political things with that. And I think it didn't pan out in one of his projects. I think that was the big kicker. There was way too many things politically with the people who own that. And like, they would have had to get it with a different, company to buy it out. So I think that was his main deciding factor. If I can find the interview, I'll send it, but I can't, I remember that being something.
I've read, things about several of the big franchises that, like with the Friday the 13th, certain characters are, I don't know which studios, but certain characters are owned by whatever studio, so they can continue certain storylines, but they can't continue others, so characters get dropped from the overall franchise and that kind of thing.
Right. Wasn't that part of the reason when they released the DVD package a few years ago, and it was just the 8 movies because the other 2 or 3 were owned by a different studio or entity or something like that? Wasn't that the reason they weren't all packaged together?
I think Jason Goes to Hell was supposed to be something completely different, but the main character they couldn't use because he was owned by whatever studio owned the franchise before. So they changed character names and changed some things around. So the basic story stayed the same, but the characters they were supposed to be carryover characters from the series, but they ended up being new characters for Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah, the Jason franchise is another weird one, I think, because it jumps around a lot. Like the first movie, ooh, surprise, it was Jason's mom. And then 2, it's just like this angry kid, from camp. And they played a lot around with the idea of Jason and his motives a lot within that franchise, I think. Like, and then all of a sudden he's a muscular guy in space. Like,
Yeah, he
random.
becomes a supernatural entity at one
Yeah,
point.
like,
But
random.
I love that series. I mean, that's part
You
of
can't get enough of it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
perfect.
part of the series I grew up on. But one of the things, even as a kid watching part 2, I'm like, okay, so he can make phone calls from a payphone across the street. He found this lady's house, but he lives in the woods. Okay, all right, I'll buy it.
And back to Halloween, I've never understood how Michael knows how to drive.
Oh my God, yes. Every time. Yeah.
Yeah, because they locked his ass up when he was a little kid. So
Yeah, but he
Like,
jumps in
how
those
the fuck did
flowers
he
and
learn
takes
that?
off. So.
Same with Jason. Like, one of my fondest memories, my mom got me into horror a lot as a kid. That was one of our Saturday things. We'd watch Dark Shadows together. But they had a horror channel. I don't remember the name of it. But my cousins and I sat, and me, her, and my cousins were all sitting watching the one Jason movie, and like the lights just shut off in the shower, and the girl's like, "Oh my God, stop, you guys, and stop it!" And she goes, "Oh yeah, her tits is showing. She's gonna fucking die. She's about to die. Okay, they're gonna stab her in the dark." And then she goes, "Why is she falling? The very last thing she needs to do is fall. He's going two freaking seconds a minute walking. Like, what the fuck's going on here?" I think that's why I love Jason so much, is my mom's commentary every time we watched it. It's my favorite. I love
like
it.
that. It's like, hey, that's the same with Jason and Michael. They both walk at a snail's pace.
Yeah,
But they catch up with you. Doesn't matter.
exactly.
But it's funny. You just can't outrun them. I mean,
No.
yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I fell in love with that Friday 13th series when I was a kid, and I was particularly fond of. And it's still my favorite of the series was part 2. But I like all the movies, even like Jason X. I mean, it was campy and goofy, but it was fun to watch. It was a fun movie for me to
I think
watch.
Jason X is actually probably one of my favorites. I like the art direction in that one a little bit.
Yeah, I like Jason X.
Yeah, it was a fun movie. I mean, he's fighting a cyborg in space. What can't you not like about that?
How do you guys feel about Freddie versus Jason, though?
I love it.
I thought that one was so campy, and it had every aspect of every cheesy thing in all of the horror movies in one, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
Loved that
I
movie.
loved it. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I loved it.
Yeah,
I recently watched it, and it was just hysterical. I couldn't stop laughing because when I was a kid, I was scared of it, and now it's just funny.
And that's the director that did Bride of Chucky, I believe.
Mm-hmm. I think that's one franchise I couldn't get into, and I wished I liked it more. I just can't get into Chucky's franchise.
Yeah,
I feel bad about it.
Well, that's one I didn't really dive into either. I mean, I watched the movies, but I don't know. Chucky didn't do a lot for me.
Mm-mm.
I like them. I haven't watched the show, but the show on Sci-Fi, but I like them.
Yeah, we saw the new movie together.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that was actually really good.
It wasn't bad. It was pretty good. Was that 2 years ago? It was before the pandemic. Was it 2019?
Time is all weird.
Something like that.
I think it was 2019.
Yeah, it might have been 2019. But love that movie. I thought it was pretty good. But overall, when I see a Chucky movie, it just doesn't grab my attention the way it does some people. I could take it or leave it, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Jigsaw is the best.
Yeah.
He is so creative. I think that's another franchise too that's just amazing, and it's perfect in every way.
Yeah,
he has these cool ideas.
That one is really good because they have really stuck to everything that they've established. They don't
deviate from the main story.
I mean, you never know what's going to happen, but they stick to the overall story, and that's pretty good. Especially it's been nine of them, I think, something like that.
I think there's 9.
Yeah, Spiral was pretty good. I didn't know how I was going to react to Chris Rock playing a detective because he's always funny to me, but I liked it. It was pretty good.
I didn't get to watch Spiral yet. That's on my list to watch.
I think I saw that with you at the theater too, Bryce. Spiral, did we go see that? Okay.
I think that was this year, I believe. No,
Was it?
last year, not
Yeah,
2022.
I think that was.
Right.
I think that came out in August.
Yeah, I think we went and saw it toward the end of the theatrical run. I don't think we saw it like when it first came out.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But I don't either. But it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. But yeah, like all those movies. So is there anything coming out that you want to go see, Bryce? I tell you, I did break down last night because it was on sale on Vudu for $9. I bought the movie Lamb, so I'm going to watch
Oh,
that
did
probably
you?
this weekend. Yeah, I don't see it anywhere on DVD yet. So
As far as new things, well, Scream, of course. There's some from the past couple of years that I've been wanting to watch that I haven't seen that I want to get caught up on. So
yeah, Elena sent me for Christmas a couple of crazy Nick Cage movies that I need to watch. So what's it called? Willy's Wonderland? Is that what it
You've
is?
got to watch that. It's so good. It is so. You need to watch that this weekend.
All right, I'll see if I can fit it in.
Gotta do it.
So, but and what was the other one that you sent me? That thing was disturbing. What was it
Bliss.
called? Yeah, Bliss. Have you seen Bliss yet,
I
Bryce?
haven't.
I'll
You
have to let you
watch
borrow
it like
it.
3 times to really like it. Because the first time Dustin and I watched it, because you know how Shudder does like the preview of the movies,
Yeah.
like when you first get to it and before you get. Well, it started from scratch, and then before you know it, we were like, huh? What's going on? And then we watched it full way through, and then at the end, because no one said a word. Literally, it was dead silent. We did not pause it to go to the bathroom. We did not get snacks. At the end, he looks at me, and I look at him, and I was like, what the fuck?
It's
Vampires, right? It's great, though. The artistic direction's really cool. The storyline's great. It's about an artist, and she starts snorting this cocaine, but it looks like charcoal, and it has powers that turn you kind of into a Nosferatu vampire type thing. You just crave blood, and it's her spiraling out of control. And then the way the direction is going is just everything is filmed all haphazardly, and it's
is it actually
really
on Shudder?
cool. Yeah, it's on Shudder.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, yeah, Bryce, you got a subscription to that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it was actually on Shudder, but yeah, they sent me a few DVDs for Christmas, and that's the first one I watched, and I was like her, my jaw was dropping at the end. I was like, what the hell did I just watch?
Yeah. And we can't give away the ending because that was just like the best part. But the more you watch it, the more little details you can find that are just really interesting. But that was a very dark film. Very dark film.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen that. I'll have to check it out.
Put it in the queue.
Have y'all watched Slacks about the killer genes?
Oh,
no.
I have watched that. It's crazy.
Where is that on?
It's on Shudder.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
we
worth checking out. It's only like 80 minutes, but I liked it. Yeah, it's ridiculous, but I liked it.
It is campy, but it's funny and it's gory. And
I'm down.
It's about a possessed pair of jeans.
Possessed jeans. Like, I can get in with this. Did you guys watch Brand New Cherry Flavor on Netflix?
I haven't seen that one.
Okay. The more stuff I talk about, I feel like people just judge me. It's okay. I don't care. So it was originally a book, and I've been trying to find the book, and I don't know if it's banned or what, but you can't find it without it being $500, so I'm a little pissed about it. Premise of it is a girl, she makes a snuff film, and it is just chef's kiss. It's out of this world. It's brand new. It's inventive, kind of set in the 90s. And she goes to someone who's big in the film industry, and he says he'll help her out. There was no contract. There's no nothing signed upon. It's pretty much just like a handshake type thing, right? Spoken word agreement, nothing written. Steals the idea completely. Says it's his. And then it's basically her trying to get revenge on this guy because he is just ruining her fucking life. So she goes to a witch, and the witch is starting to do all types of weird hoodoo voodoo type stuff. But whatever's happening to him is like happening to her tenfold. And then she starts vomiting kittens. And I'm not going to say anything else because there's a whole bunch of weird stuff. And like, that's like her payment to the lady. Like, she has to vomit kittens, and the kittens are kind of like the sacrifice for each new thing she does for other people that come to her for help. The whole show is bananas.
Oh
You
my
gotta
God.
watch it.
What was that writer smoking?
It's on Netflix. All
right, well,
pretty cool.
I'll put that in the queue.
I'm not even sure if you would classify that as horror other than totally fucked up. I'm not entirely certain.
Another one I'm looking forward to is the director of The Witch and The Lighthouse has a new one. It's called The Northman. It's got Nicole Kidman and I can't remember who else is in it, but the trailer for it is out. It looks really good.
Yeah, and that's Robert Eggers, right? Eggers?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I got him mixed up with Ari Aster a couple weeks ago, and then I wanted to hit myself in the head after that because they're two different people. But yeah, I haven't watched The Lighthouse yet. Bryce and Natalie saw that at the theater, and he says it's pretty crazy. I don't know if you've seen it, Elena.
No, not yet. That's on our list. That's we have that in our queue.
I really
I want to see Death on the Nile.
It's definitely not. The Lighthouse would not be for everybody, but I liked it.
Is that the one where? So is it like a sea creature in it, and they kind of?
It has those elements to it, but it's different. I'll leave it at that.
Is it just dark different, or is it kind of rough? Like, is there trigger warnings I need to look up?
No, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, it's
okay.
It's if you've seen The Witch, different. It's not The Witch again. It's just different.
Okay, solid.
All right.
That's how you sell.
Yeah, I think
This is true.
Dustin likes the slow burn movies. I think that's his anything that makes you think a little bit deeper, that has like a dark aspect to it, for him that gets him going a little bit more in horror movies. I think he always has the ones that make you feel really unsettled afterward. You're like, oh, what is the world now? I don't even know. Like, yeah, Bryce, who am I as a person?
He loved Midsommar the first time he watched it, or Midsommar, however you want to say it. But and I told the story of us watching it together in the theater and how awkward it was with that one scene toward the end. That wasn't.
It was awkward for me, and I was just like, what? Why is this happening? And now every time we watch the movie, I've watched it a total of 3 times now, and I forget every time I watch it how much I love and hate the damn movie at the same time. But every time that scene comes on, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to go take a snack break. Be back. Let me know.
And it's not a short scene. It's a long scene.
No, it's long. And everybody's like, it's not that long of a scene. Bullshit, it's not.
I really liked that movie. And I wasn't a huge fan of Hereditary, but I thought Midsommar was a big step up. Personally, I thought it was a big step up from Hereditary.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So is Hereditary just a lot slower paced, or because I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I hear fantastic things.
I think it's one of those things that the hype built it up too much.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Sense.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, Bryce and I talked about it afterward too. I mean, I won't say anything to spoil the movie, but there are certain things that were in the trailer that led me to believe it would be explored more in the movie, but it was cut short. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
it does
for me.
Yeah.
So it was different than what I had envisioned just from watching the trailer, but not that you could get much from the trailer because it's a batshit crazy movie, but that's kind of how I felt about it.
And also everybody watched it. I think every podcast I've listened to that's horror related has had one episode where they pretty much have just stopped in the middle of whatever they were talking about, and Hereditary was the main topic of conversation, and everybody loves it. And I can see where you're coming from, because there's a few that I've spoken to, they're like, it was just okay. Like, it wasn't the best. They were like, it's just okay. It's still good, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was just kind of middle of the road for me.
Yeah. I feel kind of the same, but I haven't seen it more than 2 times. I think I watched it one more time after we saw it in the theater, and I think I liked it a little better after the second viewing, but maybe one of those movies, if I watch it 4 times, that maybe, oh, okay, I see the genius. But after the first watch, I was like, it's all right.
I think that's how I was with The Witch. The first time I saw it, I was in the movie theater and I was expecting something different. I don't know what exactly I was expecting. It was just different. And the person I saw it with fell asleep. My friend fell asleep in the movie. So I had to go home and watch it because they were snoring and it was just this whole big ordeal. So I went home and watched it and I was like, oh, now that's actually perfect. That was a good one.
I love it. All right. We had a minor hiccup, but we're back with Bryce Gibson, founder of County Line Horror, and we are about to wrap up this episode of Horror 421, the podcast. And Bryce, I want to know where we can find your stuff.
All right. My author website is brycegibsonwriter.com, and then the County Line Horror website is countylinehorror.com. And I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter with Bryce Gibson, and County Line Horror has pages on all those too.
Awesome. And my beautiful co-host, Elena, where can we find your stuff?
I am on Instagram as well as TikTok. My surname, rather, I don't know what name that's called. I think it's my tag, is at JukeboxBaby78 on both Instagram and TikTok. And then on Facebook, I am Elena Marie. So if you have any inquiries about any type of makeups you guys would like done, any authors that would like some book covers, I work with Charles normally, but if you need anything, I am here. You can message me or find me there.
Awesome. And I am Charles Campbell. You can find me on Facebook under Charles Campbell Authors. Same on Instagram. Website is valleyboypublications.com, where you can find all of my links. And we want to thank Bryce Gibson again for joining us today on Horror 421, the podcast. Got some great insight on his work and some of his opinions, especially on the Halloween series. So thank you again, Bryce, for joining today.
Yes, thank y'all for having me on.
All right. If
you want to meet the three of us, we will be at Days of the Dead here this year, 2022, at the Atlanta Sheraton Hotel, February 25th?
5th, that's correct.
Through 27th. Yeah. So come out and come play with us at our booth.
That's
right. Or the booth.
Well, we'll all be there. So come see us, and we look forward to speaking with you. And until next time, this is Charles, Elena, and Bryce for Horror 421, the podcast. Thank you for listening.
We hope you had a horrific time, lovelies. Thank you for tuning in to Horror 421, the podcast. Be sure to like us on YouTube and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.